So we showed you part 1 last week, and you've been waiting this week for part 2. And we're going to show you the chords today. And this one just, I love this one. This one just seems chaotic. Okay, so I want to see how many times he's changing up the chords. How many times is he playing the same progression differently? All right, so we're gonna count them here. Is that one? No, he's not really doing the right there. See, he didn't really start it. Okay, he starts it here. Here it goes. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, all off this melody. 5, 6, no, this is 7. I'm gonna skip that one because it wasn't full. 8, 9, 10. Oh, perfect. 10. Because 10 commandments represent order. So we'll go with that. Alright, so let's look at the chords. Now here's the thing. What is the unifying element? What is the element that ties all of these together? Because remember, in music is like writing a paper. It's governed by an overriding theme. So what would be the theme that ties together all these chords? Right, and they're not just haphazard. We do have a theme here, and the theme would be the. That's your theme. That's overriding, and that note is kept. That melodic line is at the top of every single one of these chords. So you have to kind of realize that that's the context that we have that melodic line going on the top of all of the chords. Now let's look at the first. I'm going to take all of these, and let's start from the first one. Here we go. All right, so let's look at that first set. So the first set would be the A flat minor. Now that we know since we know the melodic line is this, when I say A flat minor, even though this would be the A flat minor, we know that that B is going to have to be on top due to the fact of the placement of the melodic line. So we want to make sure that even though I'm saying A flat minor here, you always want to make sure that wherever we're at, that note is always on top. So it's going to be up to you to make sure that you invert these to make sure that the correct note is on top, right? Because we know this is still an A flat minor, simply inverted. Okay, so we have an A flat minor chord. Then the next chord is a G chord, which would be right from the. Okay, so right there. The next chord would be a E flat major 7. The A on top because we need that note on the top. And then we have a big change here where he goes to a C6-9 sharp 11. Now where are we getting that from? Here's a C. What would be the 6th note? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What would be the 9? 7, 8, 9. What would be the 11? Here's the 11. Sharp that note. There it goes. Okay, and the reason why it's voiced differently here is because Chordie wants to see this as a D over C, kind of like a D on top and a C on bottom. But notice that when we put those together, it does give us a C6-9-11 sound. Now if I go here, it gives me that voicing too. So depending on the placement of the notes is how it's voicing this. But I like the way I like voicing as a C6-9 sharp 11. And let's look at that. Heard that? So that's the C6-9 sharp 11. All right, that's the first set of chords. What are the next set of chords? Now I'm gonna, it was easy for me in transcribing to follow the melodic line of the bass note on this section. And if you can hear that, here it goes. See, it's a chromatic bass line. Now, I already know that I'm doing this on the top. So those of you who are talking about my ear and how I hear so well, it's not really that. It is using a lot of theory because in actuality, I know that this is the melodic line on top, so I know those are going to be within the chord. I also can hear the melodic structure of the bass line, which is going this. So it would be basically kind of figuring out which notes are in between. So here are the notes for the second part. The notes would be, on this first chord would be a B chord, and then with a C sharp on the bottom. So I just said B over C sharp, okay? And then this next one would be, which is a D augmented, and then remember, that's walking up. So it's just easy to call that a D augmented chord. And then we know that the A minor is next, but we know that the bass note is 1 higher. Okay, so it's just an A flat. This is an A flat minor chord. And then this next one, the way that I chorded this one was to have it like this. Which I actually voice as a E minor 3rd, okay, in the right hand, and in the left hand, we voiced it as a diminished. And I felt that was an easier way to look at this instead of the E diminished major 7-9 chord. Now, yes, you can look at it as that because you can have this. We know that here would be a diminished chord. Adding the 7th note would add the C sharp. Right, adding the F here would be the 9, the 9th note of E, right? That would be the 9th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you have that with the diminished, okay? But then adding this would be the 7th, but we want a major 7, which would be a D sharp. So E diminished, major 7-9, right? But again, for me, it's kind of too much thinking, you know. So I voice it the way that will go best for me. Okay, so again. All right, what's the third set of chords? All right, that one. Let's try it. Let me play that one again. Okay, so this one uses a little bit of a different structure here. So what's going on in that first chord is we have a B minor chord with an F at the bottom. Then we have an E flat sus2 and a G flat at the bottom. And now he's going to move from here. He's going to move to a major sounding voicing, which is going to be a E on top, and then D. All right, and my phone is ringing. Give me a second here. Okay, where was I? And so E over G, and then okay, so together that's going to be. Now remember, in the bass, what's going on is, okay, so in the right hand we have, okay, so together, so that will be the third set. All right, fourth set. That's not, here it is. That one. All right, so that one is and of course we voiced this as a B flat 13 flat 9, but you can just see it as a G. You can see it as just a B flat dominant chord and with a G on top, and just put them together and you still have that voicing. The next voicing will be the B major. Remember, because we're going, so on this chord we have a B major 9. That C sharp in there is going to give the 9th. So, and then the next chord would be the E major 7, 13th sound. Okay. So, no, I'm getting lost. Where am I at? Okay. There it is. Okay, so, and then back to the C6 9 sharp 11. Okay, and now we're on to the fifth progression. All right, so let's look at this, and then I want to show you something interesting with this progression. We have the A flat, okay, minor, but we want the 7th in there. So the A flat 7, which would include that G flat, and then it's also going to be the 11, which is going to include, okay, so there it is, A flat minor 7, add the 11, which is the C sharp, and then we have the B flat major chord. So remember, so it's going to be the A flat minors chord. So we have the, and then we have the B major 7, and then we have a G flat major 9, okay, and then we have a B flat major chord, add the 2. So that helps. But now there's something interesting going on in the bass that the chord progressions don't necessarily give away, and that is the 1/4 progression twice, which is what makes this sound so neat. Listen to the bass note here. Here we go. You heard that? The popular 1/4 progression was thrown in there. It changes contextually how everything sounds, because now instead of having just the A flat, instead of having that voicing, and I don't remember how to have it again. I think I have it. But anyway, so but because we have the B major 7 there, but right here, we have a C sharp in the bottom, which actually is going to change this to probably a C sharp 13 sus chord. And then, okay, so it sounds like this. Sorry. I keep trying to hit that A, and I shouldn't be. That's why it's giving the 4th 11. I should be hitting the G sharp, F sharp. So it'll be, nope. Okay, so okay, so we have 2 sets of 1/4 progressions, because the this one, that's a set of 1/4. That's a 1/4 progression there. But then you also have the, so you kind of have a double resolve there, which is really interesting movement there, which gives that such a nice resolving tone from those set of chords. I'll let you hear that again. Here it is. Okay, so now let's go to the next one. Okay, so now when you look at that set of chords, you can just see when they make that chord, that one right there, you can just see the look on everybody's face when he hits that one chord. What's going on here now? Remember, I told you that music is a story, right? It has to follow a story. So what's really going on here is that there's not a lot of chords that you can really use. He's used up all of the chords. No, let me put it this way. He's used up all of the beginning chords that you would use in this, which would be an A flat minor chord, a straight B chord, and then he so far he's kind of played it safe in a sense by making sure that the first chord has done that. So now he's having to go outside of the box a little bit, because you know what, he's like, well, I pretty much have used up all of my phrase. Now remember, he keeps changing the last one. He's changing that one a lot. Now he's saying, well, let me try to change this first one a little bit. And so that's what is going on. And in actuality, from this point forward, he will never use another inverted A flat minor chord. He's going to now change it, the first chord, to something else. So that's where this is coming into play. Let's show you what that is. Okay, so see how much dissonance that has? Now, and then of course he's even doing some stuff with the left hand. But I want you to show you something and what this is. In actuality, this is just a clustered voicing. And basically all the notes are in this particular chord can be really within an octave. But I want you to show you, if we have it voiced regular, I want you to look at the C major 9 chord, which is a 3, the 5, the 7, and the 9. And let's add a sharp 11. So this would be the 11 there. Now, let's cluster this, meaning we want these notes closer together. So let's take this A sharp, F sharp, and move it down here. Let's take this D and move it down here. And now you have a really tight cluster. And I want you to hear his notes together. Hear it again. Okay, and then he's adding more notes. Did you hear that? But look at that. It doesn't change the quality, because he's only using notes that are within the upper portion of the cluster, which are the B and the G. And so that's all that is. This clustered voicing is being held. So while he does his next note, and he kind of keeps that cluster there until he goes to his next chord. And you notice that, and I really just want to call this section, this pattern of chords, the clustered chord section, because he's using a lot of clustered chords here. I mean, even this guy, where is it? Let me put this video. Look at this guy. When he uses his second cluster, this guy has to get on his tippy toes. When he uses the first cluster, he's baffled. And then when he uses the second cluster, it makes him get on his tippy toes because look, watch this. Oh, ain't no tippy toes. That's a stairs. Anyway. All right, but anyway, so what's going on? What is that? What is that cluster? Because I like to call this the clustered section. Okay, that's the first cluster, and then we have one there, and I'm hearing a D. I'm hearing a dun, which is that D flat, right? You can tell there's just a big cluster there. But I want to you know, in the part one, and if you haven't seen the part one, you need to go watch that, because we were talking about how we can derive melodic lines from voicings. But now I want you to watch how we go backwards here. This next clustered chord is actually a scale played harmonically. Watch this. Now, melodic minor scale, take out the G, and you have your chord, which is why we had voiced that as an A flat minor 6/9. But again, just to show you that this is really just a minor scale played together. Okay, and then the next voicing would be the so what we really have is the G major 7 here. Here's a G major. Add the 7. Add the sharp 11, which the 11 would be the C sharp, and that would be the C sharp. Okay. So a lot of this section is starting a lot of the clustered voicings that he's using. I mean, a lot of them are already using that, but this one probably more than all of them. All right. So the 7th progression. Okay, let's look at that one. Okay, so for the 7th progression, we have that first chord being an E minor 9, and then we also have the second one being an A minor 9. Okay, and then we have probably A9. A9 sus4, because there's no C. The C's moved up here to the D, making the sus. A9 sus4. So we have, again, E minor 9, A major 9, A9 sus4, and then we have a A6 9 here. The 6 being that F sharp, and the 9 being the B. Okay, so I keep hitting that C sharp, and I shouldn't. Okay, so that's the next set of chords. Now remember, he's moving up. He's telling a story, and the story within the story, there's an element of momentum that's building, right? So his chords are going to change. And real quick, let me do that passage. That part there, he didn't really do that. That was me. I put that in. Okay, I'll be honest. Let me let you hear it without, and let me explain why. Let me let you hear it without that, without me playing with them. See, it is kind of there, and I think he got that from, you know, he mentioned Derek Jackson as one of his influences, and that sounds like a move Derek Jackson used. In fact, I'm going to be covering one of his next week. Lift Those Hands, and that's a movement that I felt was in that he probably could have derived it from that. So I kind of just, what I did is I made the song stronger within those passing chords and melodic lines, so you could hear it a little bit more. Whereas it's not as clear in this version; it's more clear in mine. Okay, but it's a beautiful progression, and it's basically just major thirds going up chromatically. Okay, that's all that is. All right, let's go on. The eighth set of chords, and I'm purposely not having the video on there because I want the focus just to be on the chord. So let me move that out. Okay, so the eighth set. Okay, so here it is. So you can see how he's changing that last one. A very minor sounding chord quality on the last note there. But okay, so let's do that first one. That'll be yeah, G minor, G major 9, 13 there. And I'm gonna voice this next one differently because although some people may want to see it as a you may see it like that, but I think, yeah, I think this is the voicing that's used in the next chord. So but what I like to see it to me, actually that's it here. But to me it's easier to look at this as just a G flat chord on top and a D flat diminished on the bottom. So put that with the G flat or F sharp chord, and then where the E is moved, well, the G is moved down, the E stays. Okay, so it may be easier, to voice it or to say it in that manner. And then the next chord after that would be the E minor 7. So, but of course we have to have the E in there in order to make that. I mean, not the E, I'm sorry, the D in there. Okay, so, and then the last one, I like the sound of that change. All right, let's go to the next one. Now we're on to the ninth one. Now, very interesting movement and very interesting chords here. Now remember, now he's totally kind of changing that melody, which is going from, but it's still there. It's still there. It's just not on the top, okay? And it's kind of implied because really those notes aren't even being played anymore. But it's all being implied at this point. But here are the chords. Now those are some very interesting chords because he starts and ends on a B major 9, but the ones in between. Okay, so that's going to be a B major 9. And really what you want to do, actually no, that's not right. I shouldn't be playing that A flat. Okay, so here's the chord here, but it's a rootless voicing because he's on the organ. His bass, his foot's playing that B there. So to give it that body, he's probably using that voicing. Now let me sustain that, hold that B there, and you can see it's a B major 9 still. But that leaves you kind of some room there to open it up, make it sound real full. And then, of course, what we have is the chords after that would be the now, really, essentially, now this next voicing is kind of interesting. So it's gonna sound like this. Okay, so what we have here is a essentially is an E flat 9 sus 13, because what's going to happen is that C is going to come in there as for the 13th sound. Okay, so a 13th sus, and then the next chord voicing would be a D flat 13 sus. Okay, so we're going from a okay, so very, very, very nice chords. Okay, very jazz. And see, and if you notice, I'm doubling up on some notes because I'm just trying to make sure that I retain the quality. Not necessarily maybe playing it the way he's voiced it, but the quality is correct. So it'll be that B major 9, and then you have the E flat 13 sus chord, and I think I played something else here. I think that's what I did the first time, or did I do that? I'm not sure. And then the next one, and then back to the B913, and it says 13 there because I'm not supposed to be hitting the A flat. All right, and then we have the last set of chords. Okay, all right. So he's ending. This whole song was being done. In a minor, and he wanted to change it up and end it on a major. So that's why we have that response. But let's go into the last set of chords here. It's going to be. I think I will bring the video in right here. Maybe that'll help. Maybe put it right here. All right, so. All right, so those notes will be a D flat major, a D major 7, D major 7, and then we have a D flat minor 9. Then we have a B minor 7, and then we have an E flat 7 sharp 9 sharp 5. Actually, no, I'm not basing that right. Let me. What did I do here? Now I'm all lost. That's it. Yeah, because of sharp 5, I should have been hitting a B instead of a B flat. So this would be the voicing here. And you can hear that clearly when let me let you hear that. Heard it? I'll even mute mine so you can hear it. Alright, so mine is muted. And then of course he's gonna end the very last note on what sounds like a A major. It's just an A major chord. You know, he's adding the 2. Right? And he may not even be adding it. He may just be straight playing it as a straight A major. Okay, very good lesson today. And today I made it more of a teaching lesson. And not so much theoretical. I just wanted to kind of get you playing the chords, see what they are. The way I approached this, it was interesting, that I'm using the analogy of the commandments, and that was just my play on the fact that there are 10 chords. But it's also interesting giving the title and the premise of the lesson, which is that, how do we find an element of constancy in chaos, and the fact that even from a historical perspective, when the commandments were given, you have chaos, you have just a lot of things going on, and how do you find order amongst that chaos, right? And so as musicians, when we approach a piece of music, it could seem chaotic. What ties it together? And that's what we should be trying to look for. What's going to tie all of this together? And my perspective and the way that I'm looking at this is that the melodic line ties all these together, right? it ties all these together, unifies it, gives me a theme to work within, right? And I like that because, musicians, we're the most complicated, intelligent, well-rounded, in my opinion, and not just musicians, but artists, period, because there's a sense of order. There's got to be some order there where we're going to have some things memorized. We're going to have a body of knowledge, but then there's also chaos, right? There's got to be some chaos too. We've got structure, but we also have clutter and mess. We have rules that we say, well, we have to know the rules, and then they say, well, no, you can break them, right? So, but it's not so much knowing rules, breaking rules, knowing rules, breaking rules. It's not so much that. I believe it's more of a synergy, in a sense of combining all of those. So we're knowing rules, but we're knowing them to break them. A lot of people say know them to break them. It's not really know them to break them. I think it's really knowing them and understanding why you're going outside the box. Just basically understand why you're doing what you're doing, right? Because if all rules could be broken, there would be no sense of even knowing them in the first place, right? So what we do is we try to find your own personal creative element out of the rules. The rules are still there. But of course we're not constrained by them, right? But this was a great lesson. Let me know what you think in the comments. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a downloadable copy of these these. Thou shalt memorize these chords. We're gonna put these over here for you, and so you can download them. I don't think I'll charge for that. So you can still go to the link in the description. And if you're not wanting the MIDI file and you're just wanting this downloadable, I'll save it as a PDF. And if you're just wanting the downloadable copy of it, you can just go there and you'll just make it a pay what you want thing. And then if you want it for free, you can get it. All right. So we will stop there. Thanks again, and until next week, we'll see you, and I'll see you in the comments.